huge, and we will be getting our doctor to talk to us about those statistics that you just saw there. So in Kenya, there's a lot of stigma surrounding dementia due to lack of knowledge and understanding. Now, following discussions conducted within the STRIDE project, many attribute symptoms of dementia to being cursed, being bewitched, fun enough, annoying the gods, and failure to fulfill certain obligation, and as a result of being punished for their wrongdoings. Now, moving on, between 1990 and 2016, there was an increase of 15.3% in the deaths attributed to dementia. That is in Kenya, an increase of 15.3%. Then, of course, those statistics are from STRIDE Kenya, and it's now time for that conversation with my panelists who are already here in studio. Dr. Momin Bat, he is a consultant, family physician at the Aga Khan University Hospital. Karibu sana. We have Hannah Njoki, a dementia caregiver. Karibu sana, Hannah. And of course, Mr. Titus Nzau here. He's a healthcare assistant at the Alpine Pristine Homes. Thank you so much for joining me. Lady and gentlemen, yeah? Okay. So, Doc, I want to start with you because we saw statistics there of an increase, a projected increase to 316% by 2050. That's huge. I mean, that's really huge. Talk to us about that.
Okay. Great. Thank you for having me. So, yeah, I can see the numbers do sound very scary, and they are based on a number of factors. As you've correctly said, that this is an expected increase, it's an expected outcome, and we're looking at 3 decades from now. So this is a projected prevalence in about 2050, and currently our current prevalence rate is at about 600 per 100,000 people. Mm-hmm. And what they actually expect the rate to go up is to 660 per 100,000 people. So when it's calculated statistically, it's quite significant, and thereabouts brings about that increase of about 300%.
Right.
So it is based on a number of factors. We have always been, I would say, 20 to 30 years behind the Western world in terms of development, healthcare, innovation, and everything. But we've caught up, and we're actually catching up at a faster rate. And the same with our lifestyles, the same with our diseases, and the same with our disease projections. Mm. So as our population ages, there is a better healthcare system than there was 20 or 30 years ago. Right. With more innovations and technology and availability of all these new technologies and medicine in our country. So we're expecting to have a larger group of the older people by that time. And definitely, if there's a bigger group of older people, there will be more diseases. Mm-hmm. And there will be more dementia, especially in this case.
Right. Doc, I want to stick with you because dementia, I mean, we're talking about dementia, and at the beginning of the show, I did say it affects one's memory, it affects the ability to perform physical activities. But there's someone who probably does not understand what this condition really is. Could you break it down for them?
Sure. So, as you've correctly said, those are some of the characteristics of the disease. Put in simple terms, dementia is an outcome. It is a result of several pathological or disease processes that occur in the brain. And the two major groups are nerve degeneration or breaking down of nerves. And the second one is mostly due to blood vessels, or what we call vascular disease. So these two main groups have several subtypes, but the pathologic or disease processes that affect any of them eventually lead to poor functioning of the brain, and that leads to those symptoms as you have described. Mm-hmm. And that is when a diagnosis of dementia can be made.
Right.
Of course, using other interventions like some tests, even clinical examination, and even imaging.
Right. Okay. Hannah, I want to rope you in the conversation because we're calling you a dementia caregiver. You take care of your mother.
Yes.
I would want you to take us through that.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I'm a caregiver to my mother. And when she was diagnosed with dementia, I didn't know anything about it. I had never come across the disease or have any information about it. So what I did is I looked for information, and we have a group of caregivers whom we come together every month. We share our journey. We have people who come and talk to us on how to go about caregiving. And when I started to take care of her, I was really lost. But when I joined this group, I got a lot of information, and everything about my care to her changed. So I think it's good when you have the right information when you're taking care of a dementia patient, because they need a lot. When you are with them, you are them. You are yourself and you are them. You have heard they are not in, they can't take care of their brain. So it's you to think for them what they are thinking. You have to think what they are not thinking and what they should think. So when I'm with her, I have to be very keen. I have to see where she has changes, because she cannot be able to say, this is what I'm feeling, this is what is happening, unless now she shows by emotions. So it's quite a task.
Right. And I want you to tell us how your life changed, because I believe it has, since you began taking care of your mother for 3 years now. Because during our pre-interview, Hannah, you were telling me you're with her Monday to Friday, morning to evening.
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
Thank you about that. I would say our caregiving is a different one from his, as he'll explain. Ours, we do it as a family. So that one brings me to the importance of having a good family when you have a dementia caregiver. So when she when she was diagnosed...
Just put it on
sorry.
mute, please.
Yeah.
Someone is watching you, and they want to confirm if it's really
Yes, yes.
Okay, carry on.
So when she was diagnosed, we came together as a family. So our caregiving is purely in a family setting. Then we saw the best we can take care of her. So we have one of my sisters who has a place where we housed her. And I am the one who takes care of her, and she's with her in the evening. Then, so ours is purely a family affair. We took it like that. We didn't want to have...
Let's talk about you.
Yes.
How your life changed for you, Monday to Friday, morning to evening with her.
What happens is when you're giving caregiving, you have to be there throughout the time. Sometimes we don't even have breaks as caregivers, but I thank my family with the support we have for each other. I'm there from Monday to Friday. My sister is with her at the nights. Then on weekends, the others come in. So that's the support we decided to give to our mother to help her go through the process well, and she has responded very well. Right. And so far, so good.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Titus is a healthcare assistant at the Alpine Preston Homes. Is your experience or your case any different from what Hannah is telling us? Because Haz is a family setup, she's taking care of her mother, but you have lots of patients at your place.
Yeah, at Alpine Preston Homes, we have many dementia patients, and most of them present with different symptoms. Normally, it's like, and when dementia starts, it's like there are some kinds of delusions, and they come differently. Yeah, there are those who will come with, will have signs of attention seeking. Others will have a delusion of, it's like an nihilistic delusion, because somebody will tell you, and don't have a stomach when you are telling him to feed. So you'll take time to convince him to accept that he has a stomach, because like yesterday he had.
Isn't that hard? Convincing them?
Yeah, sometimes you may not even succeed convincing them during that day. I remember there was one patient whom we started claiming does not have a stomach, and so we end to, in fact, we end to give him IVs because of dehydration before he can later accept that, he accept and go back to his normal life. So most of them have different, they show different symptoms. Others will tell you that I can't talk, and they are talking. And somebody will, first you'll start by telling you, I can't talk. And
they're talking.
And then start opening mouth like, I can't talk. But it's a way of seeking attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to handle them differently.
Right.
Because they still end their own life, they lived well, but on the way they developed that condition. So I would say what we need is just to have empathy, to show them empathy. And yeah, everybody responds to love. Even the schizophrenic, they respond. Yeah.
You're right. Okay, Dr. will be telling us about the age, because the perception out there is that this is a disease for the old. But I'm curious about who or what you have at your home, yeah, the kind of people that you have, the age bracket that you have. Who are more? Is it male or female? What kinds of people do you have at the center?
You can say majority, it's like majority are women, but although I don't know whether it's the same out there, you know, there could be more men out there, and maybe you find that those who have been brought to the facilities are men or are women. So unless the doctor tells us, I don't know whether they differ in the gender, but in our facility we have more women.
Right.
More than men.
Okay. Doc, as you respond to that, lots of questions for you, because we want to know whether it affects female more than the men, and we also want to know about the age bracket. But still, I want you to talk to us about or take us through the early symptoms of dementia, and is there a way that they can be prevented or delayed?
Okay, right. So most of the early symptoms of dementia actually start with mood and behavioral changes. So this is where someone, closer family members, would start noticing a change in the pattern of the behavior of this person. Usually if it was someone who was very joyful, and if this person suddenly becomes very, keeping to him or herself, you would pick that up early. So there's that aspect of change in mood. People may become less interested in social activities, and they become depressed, and anxiety. Usually these are the first mood changes that occur. And then after that, this precedes now the cognitive problems. So mood and personality changes first, and then usually the cognitive problems come, where now tackling tasks that someone used to do very easily, people actually forget where they are, or tasks that they were used to do very easily, they can't perform them anymore, and they can get lost in when they're driving or they're walking, even in familiar places. So it's a continuum of symptoms. And as it is a cognitive problem, so it starts with someone getting confused and becoming less and less able to work, until eventually a person who has dementia does entirely need to be under the care of somebody.
Right. Is it a disease for the old? So, and is it a must? Does that mean when we're all old, we're going to have dementia?
That's a very good question. Actually, as I was also reading about this, dementia is not part of normal aging. So it's not something that is expected. Like there are other things, like in men, the prostate will grow bigger as you grow older. But dementia is not part of normal aging. Still, risk factors, of which age is the most significant risk factor. And usually, an age above 65 years is a significant risk factor. But that does not mean that it is only for people above 65 years.
Right.
There is early onset dementia, which can occur at age below 65, though that is still very rare. But it does happen. I've seen it myself.
Okay. Hannah, I know you love taking care of your mom. It's a blessing. She's happy when you do it. I know you love it when she compliments you for that. But I also know that taking care of your mom has cost you some things in life. I see you smiling. I want you to talk to us about that.
Because it takes most of my time, I think my social activity and socializing was mainly affected. I'm rarely in social activities since I'm with her most of the time. I only have Saturday and Sunday when I'm free, and that's when I do my own things. I bond with my children, whom I'd like to recognize for the support they have given me as I take care of their grandmother. They are my support system behind the back. I also want to thank my family. They have helped me in every way I would want to. But also what gives me that strength is seeing her responding. I've seen her when she was very sick. I've seen her recover.
Yeah.
Along the way she relapsed. Then she comes up again. Then with what I've told you, when we came together as caregivers, dementia caregivers, we formed a group where we meet monthly and we exchange views. We have also decided to create awareness to everybody because dementia affects everybody. Are you a teacher? Are you a lawyer? Are you a nutritionist? Are you a doctor? Are you, like we tell doctors, please, when you are telling us these alarming messages, tell us, well, like the one you have shown there, the lead cause of death, you know, those are very alarming messages, and we tell doctors, tell us these messages in a nice way, because these are affecting family members. We have also brought in the picture even the engineers. Basically, everyone is there. Like when you need a house, like the one we house my mom in, it has the upstairs and the downstairs. So in her condition, because she also was affected by stroke, she cannot easily take strides to upstairs. So we are telling people, even when you're building houses, you might need a house that can house a person. Maybe it's you, maybe it's your parent. You need that room somewhere along the way. If it's nutritionists, they come in and they tell us, this is how you should feed the parents. But what I've seen is the coming together of caregivers. If you're out there and you would like to know a lot about dementia, you can talk to us. You can join us. We meet monthly. And myself, I know that when I joined the group, my caregiving took another turn. Yeah, took a turn. Yeah. And I am confident of the care of giving my mom. I know that she has benefited from the care that I'm giving her.
Right.
Yes.
Hannah, allow me, because you mentioned your children, yes. And I want to talk about your partner. Yeah. You're free to respond to this question in the way you like, yeah? You're free to do that. Because I understand that you taking care of your mom sort of like affected the relationship.
Yes, as I said, as far as social life is concerned, yeah, because I don't have time to socialize. Yeah, maybe in that area, yeah.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yes,
that's great.
Yeah.
Titus, let's talk about the criteria for admission at your center, because as of now you have about close to 20 dementia patients. Let's talk about the criteria.
Yeah, the criteria is that one has to be brought by a relative, yes, who is supposed to be the next of kin, and is the one who is supposed to make decisions whether the patient, or the usual call them residents, whether will continue being there or not. And it's the same person also who makes the decision of those who will visit, because the others will say we don't want visitors, or they will only write the few who should visit. Yeah, so once when they come, we have to put down the consent in case of emergency, what they want us to do, what maybe if they have a particular hospital, they would like their relative to be taken there. Yeah, those are some of the procedures we follow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And any communication must be done through the next of kin.
Yeah, any communication must be done through the next of kin, even if another relative comes and maybe says want to be allowed maybe to take the patient out. We can't do it unless there is a consent of the one who brought him for admission.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Doc, the general knowledge out there is that there is no cure for dementia. You'll correct me if I'm wrong, but it can be managed. But I want to talk about the treatment of our dementia, the interventions used in the treatment for dementia.
Okay. So the broad statement that there is no cure for dementia is actually true. Because, I mean, the bittersweet, as you said, there is nothing that has been yet proven to reverse any of those changes and bring a person who has been diagnosed with dementia back to a normal state. There are no disease-modifying drugs, and there's no particular cure. Although there are medication that are used. These are called anti-dementia drugs, and they have to be prescribed specifically by a specialist, a neurologist in this case, and after a thorough examination, because as I said that there has to be a pattern or a characteristic of this type of dementia. There are several causes, and the treatment or medication in this case is to target these particular changes. And in some cases, they can help with improvement of symptoms, especially if caught early. It may help slow the progression of the disease, but it does not entirely cure the problem. Mm-hmm. There are non-pharmacological methods. So there's medication and non-medication treatment. Yeah. So that's pharmacological and non-pharmacological. So
I'm glad you said non-medication.
Yes. Yeah.
You broke it down. Uh-huh.
So that's where all the behavioral therapies come in. So there's cognitive stimulation therapy, which is the mainstay of treatment in terms of basically it's counseling. That's where you tend to stimulate one's cognition or intelligence through certain activities repeatedly in a prescribed way, which helps someone be more in touch with themselves. Mm-hmm. And there are several other cognition therapies. There's reminiscence therapy and others, which also tend to help in some way. Yes.
Right. Hannah, let me take you again back to this journey that you have been on for 3 years, taking care of your mom. Yes. And I want you to take us through the highs and the lows, the milestones and the challenges of taking care of her, yes, both for you and her.
Yes, yes. I start with the highs, the lows.
Most definitely. Whatever you like.
Maybe I start with the lows. Mm-hmm. You see, this is my mom.
Yes.
Unwell. Mm-hmm. I'm there. I'm like, am I doing enough to make her comfortable? What is it that I'm not doing? You know, as a caregiver, sometimes you are hard on yourself. So I've learned along the way, I have to appreciate myself. I don't wait for appreciation from without. I first know I'm there for her. When she calls out my name, there was a time she was calling out my name. Nowadays, she rarely does, but she knows I'm around.
Why is that the case?
as she regenerates.
How does
Yes,
that
yes.
make you
As the memory fades, it makes me feel sad. You'll come, I'm around, and you ask, have you met Hannah? She'll tell you, no, I've not seen her even for a while, you see, because the memory is not there.
Right.
Then another low is now when she gets sick, when I've seen she has improved, then to me it's like she's going back. I'm like, but we had made this stride, why should we go back? I'm almost telling her, please, let's hold on, like that. The highs is that when she needed me, I was available full time, giving her undivided attention. That one gives me a lot of fulfillment, because I know that even if maybe her memory has faded, she knows I'm there with her. I've seen dementia patients are very fearful, very uncertain. Like I'll be with her in a room like here, and when I'm walking away, she'll ask me, where are you going away? Where are you going away? Will you come back? So I'm like, I'm just putting this thing here, I'm just doing this, I'll be back. Now I'm talking to her as I come back, and you can see that she feels secure. So the greater high for me is that when she needed me, I was there for her. And I'm happy. I love it. I love that along the way, I have gathered a lot of information to know how to help her, to know how to give her the best service. And I don't do it alone. We do as a family, as I said. And that's why our setting is different from his. Because his is in a center, ours is in a family where everyone is involved. And that one also comes with the way the parent showed us when we were growing up. She showed us to live together, to help where we can. And now she knows that we are all there for her.
Right.
And she's very, very happy. Yes.
How about you, Mr. Titus? Because the same question, actually, the highs and lows. But your case is different because you encounter many patients. Some of them have been discharged from your facility. How is it letting go of them, you know? And the other day in your office, one of your patients came in and told you, I like you, teacher, in as much as it might have been a form of manipulating you to do something. I mean, how does it feel to take care of these patients?
Yeah, it feels good because sometimes they have their own stories which are so entertaining sometimes. They can tell you some things which are entertaining. So that is the part which I see the positive side of it. But on the other side, when you imagine maybe this person could be your mother, could be your father, you feel a bit depressed. But one thing we know is that nothing comes without the knowledge of God, and with Him all things are possible. Yeah, so what I can say, what we need is just to take good care of them by knowing that they used to live their own life very well, and anybody can be in that situation.
Right.
Otherwise, the doctor has told us that it's not a must for anyone to have dementia. Particularly, I believe I will not have it.
Amen. Me too.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
Actually, I wanted to ask that because having dealt with so many, you know, of our dementia patients, my question was, does that bring some form of fear in you, either you or a relative, a friend? You have answered it in a way, but still, go ahead and tell us about that.
If it brings fear?
Yes, yes, of you having dementia or a friend or a relative.
Oh, like I said, I believe, and you know, faith is the opposite of fear. So once you fear, it's like you're allowing it now to come into your life. But I know there are relatives who have suffered it. But there was a time, in fact, it was my mother's grandmother who had dementia, and she was so paranoid when they peeled these pawpaws, she thought they wanted to poison her.
Ah.
So the same case happens there, but for my case, I can't say I have fear about it. Yeah.
Right. Okay, Doc, I'm not going to ask you about the challenges that patients and their families face because we have had that from them here. But I'm curious about what can be done to ensure that both of them, the patient and the caregivers here, feel supported and cared for. So
a lot can be done, and you mentioned the STRIDE study.
Yeah.
Basically, the other name for the study was Mapping Dementia Care in Kenya. And they apart from the prevalence, they've tried. It was a massive collaboration with the UK and the Mental Health Research Foundation of Africa. And basically, the nitty-gritty is that we need more awareness programs. First of all, we need even the medical staff to be more prepared. It is a very complicated, sophisticated type of a disease, and basically someone definitely needs more and more training to be able to deal with dementia patients. There have to be counseling programs that make it easier for both the caregivers, even the medical team, and the family to work on that, as there should be policies as well which help reduce the stigma. As you introduced, you said that people probably think it's due to juju or being cursed and all. So that knowledge needs to be spread, and people need to understand what is the base of this disease. It's a problem, basically a medical disease like any other, which affects the brain. Yeah. Right. Okay, and we're almost winding up. We have about 3 minutes left. So let me get your parting shots. Doc, I will end with you. I want to start with you, Hannah. What's your message to other caregivers, other people taking care of their parents, their loved ones, just like you?
Yes. I would tell them when they get that opportunity, they seize it. It's priceless. It's very fulfilling, but taxing at the same time, especially time-wise, emotionally. But it's possible. Then I would advise them to be in our group where we come together, we get doctors, we get people of different, who come and teach us on how to go about the caregiving. We are also creating a lot of awareness to everyone. And nowadays I'm happy even with, like if there are cases, we have brought in lawyers and doctors. We have created a lot of awareness about that, where even if the dementia patients are needed, say in courts, the judges have allowed like online participation, which for us was a very great stride. Because when they are needed and we tell the judges, this is the condition, the doctors come in, they need to write letters for us. The engineers, like I said, the family, and myself, I advocate for family care. I don't say that theirs is no good, but I've seen that in a family setting, the patient gets to benefit a lot because, like me, when I'm taking care of my mom, that touch, that togetherness, I know what she likes, I know what she needs, I know her behavior, I know her. Before a caregiver comes and gets to know my mom like I do, it might take time. But when we came together as a family, we were able to give her a very big boost from the beginning, and that has helped her in her recovery and in her easing the condition she's in. And I send shout outs to her. Sure. She's at home with my brother and sister. They're watching? The ones, yes, they are. And my niece, they came in. My brother came in today and my niece, and I send shout outs to them, also to all my family members. And I tell them, let's carry on taking care of our mommy. Okay. Yes. Mr. Titus, let's get your closing remarks.
Mine, for us, she said it's good to take care of maybe a parent or a relative at home, but I would say that it's good to have them at a home where we have enough people, because at least they are enough to relieve one another, and there is no fear of this is my father. You know, there are some people who fear, say, I don't believe this is my dad in this situation. So when somebody else is taking care of him, at least there is that liberty. He will take care of him as either a patient, and he's not alone. The others still are monitoring. There is no room for either abuse because others are watching.
Right.
But at home setup, you know, if you get somebody there, you don't know what will happen. And at the same time, at the like our place, our facilities, that everybody is free to come. And under our watch, even an enemy cannot do anything to him because there are relatives who are enemies. So there is proper care. Yeah, and what I would like to say to other people who are taking care of such people is that they should do it with empathy.
Yes.
They should understand that they too can be in such a situation, and once such condition comes to your life, you are subjected to somebody else's care. Imagine, like the way we are, you realize that you can't do things for yourself.
Someone else here.
You depend on somebody else. You don't know what you will do next. So with the same knowledge, they should know these people
Right.
need proper care.
Okay. Dr.
Yeah.
Momin, you get the final say.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank you for having this show. It's going to help a lot of people. It's going to help people understand that they are not alone if they do feel so. As Hannah has said, there's this active group. There. For those who have the facilities, there's the homes where he's working.
Yes.
So that's great strides we're making as a country in terms of healthcare, and I would appeal to our government, our health sector to take more initiatives, and definitely this is something that will take a lot of time for us to approach. There are several countries who are doing several clinical trials as we speak.
Right.
Some make breakthroughs, some are not really getting good results, but a lot, millions, and I would say billions of dollars are being invested to come up with treatments for this. So let us be aware, let us not shame it, let's understand that it's a disease like any other. And and thank you very much. And I'd also want to say a high five to all my girls at home.
Sure. You don't want to say a high five to anyone?
I say a high five to my family.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Even me, I'll say high five to my family.
Yeah, and my family at home. Yeah.
Okay, sawa. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your time and your contribution. Dr. Momin Bate, consultant, family physician at Aga Khan University Hospital. Hannah Njoki, a dementia caregiver. She takes care of her mother. And of course, Mr. Titus Nzao here, healthcare assistant at the Alpine Pristine Homes. Thank you so much once again for coming. Thank